This is the human heart. Central to our physical body, our survival, revered by poets throughout history as the emotional center of our being. The place we instinctively touch when asked to point to ourselves. And now, what we have known intuitively is being understood scientifically. Researchers are unlocking a new science of the heart that could change everything we know about health and our interconnected nature. Coherence is a state of balance between heart, mind, and emotions, creating a favorable cascade of neural, hormonal, and biochemical events that benefit the entire body. But this phenomenon not only benefits us personally, it affects everything around us, emitting an electromagnetic field that can be measured up to 3 feet outside of the body. When you are in coherence, your heart resonates at the same frequency as the Earth's magnetic field. This frequency positively affects everything around you. When a group of people are in coherence together, this effect is magnified. Could communities synchronized in coherence lower violence, accelerate cooperation, and global harmony? This is the purpose of the Global Coherence Pulse. If we can measure the impact of thousands of people in coherence at the same time, it could lead to a breakthrough in understanding the full potential of the human heart. All you need to participate is your presence and your heart. To take it to the next level, join the research study by downloading the app and getting an HRV monitor to measure your personal coherence. The world needs it more than ever before. Each human heart is unique and magnificent by itself. But imagine what could be possible when we unify.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our May Global Coherence Pulse. My name is Teresa Collins. I'm one of the founders of the Global Coherence Pulse, and I'm really excited that you're joining us here today. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be present in community, cultivating coherence and pulsing the planet with our love and our care, and taking this time to nourish yourself, to nourish your surroundings, and to be a coherent presence on the planet. We need that so much right now. And today is a very special Global Coherence Pulse. Today, our guest is Preethaji, who brings in a powerful energy. The community always loves to have her presence with us, and a really strong and clear transmission around living an enlightened life. So let's just take a moment before we bring Preethaji on. And I see that we're having some things with language. And so as soon as I finish my introduction, I'll see about turning on any interpreters, any kind of ways that we can support this multi-language community that's here present today. So maybe just feel the vibes. So let's just take a moment to put our feet on the ground, connecting ourselves to exactly where we are on the planet. Bringing your presence in the peace and love that we'll experience today and infuse it into your local surroundings. And you might place your attention on your heart to bring your awareness inside today. Inside to this still place inside of you. inside of us, connected to all things. And just allow our breath to move in and out of our heart as we relax into this moment and open ourselves into this loving community of coherence. And allow for this time today to be nourishing. Nourishing for you and for the benefit of all life. So Kaylin, I'd love for you to play our introduction to Shri Preethaji. For those of you who don't know her, this will be a really lovely opening introduction. And just allow yourself to keep relaxing and being present for this potent journey that we'll take together. Kaylin.
Shri Preethaji is a woman philosopher and transformational leader. She is known for her original teachings, meditation practices, and mystic processes that have helped millions in India and many nations of the world, leading them to mental health, emotional wellness, and spiritual awakening. Her purpose is to awaken human consciousness from agitation to peace, separation to connection, and division to oneness. In 2002, together with her husband Shri Krishnaji, she undertook the mammoth project of creating the gigantic architectural marvel of Ekam, World Center for Enlightenment, and completed it in 2008. Ekam is a sacred pillarless structure built of marble to accommodate 8,000 seekers in a state of meditation. It is a mystic powerhouse that has been created with a vision to bring world peace and enlightenment. Shri Preethaji, along with her husband, Shri Krishnaji, co-authored the US best-selling book, The Four Sacred Secrets, in 2018. She has also created Oneness Yoga, an integration of 5 forms of yoga to help the world realize the true spirit of yogic tradition. Preethaji's TEDx talk from Kansas City has been viewed by over 3 million people. She has been interviewed on prestigious online platforms such as Goop, Marie Forleo, One Commune, and has been covered in magazines including Forbes, Fortune India, Inc., Authority, and the Huffington Post. She travels to the USA, Europe, Australia, Latin America, Japan, South Korea, and China every year, offering her 4-day signature program called the Field of Awakening. In conclusion, the world certainly is a more peaceful place because of Shri Preethaji's presence in it.
Indeed, the world is a better place with your presence, Shri Preethaji. And thank you so much for joining us again for the Global Coherence Pulse. Namaste, namaste. Thank you so much for bringing your heart and presence to us today.
So beautiful to see you again, Teresa. It's so wonderful to be over here with everybody.
Thank you.
And namaste to everyone at the Global Coherence Pulse today. Let us begin with a couple of deep breaths. Breathe consciously. Lengthen your exhales. Deepen your inhalation. Let your entire attention and focus be on your breath. Ask the universe to open your heart to the spiritual vision of enlightenment. To evolve in your state, where you will be untouched by stress of any kind, regardless of your life's challenges. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let us begin. The vision Sri Krishnaji and I hold at Ekam is for a humanity that lives in oneness within oneself, oneness with another, and oneness with all living beings on earth. We are creating engaged, enlightened beings. Enlightened beings whose consciousness flows into their families, their societies, and also impacts the human consciousness as a whole. I can say that the tribe of enlightened beings is increasing. Today, let me talk about action. I'm not talking in terms of an enlightened individual, but I'm talking about a wise action that can minimize conflict and that can cause a great destiny. Your destiny is largely governed by your actions. Your actions are governed by your choices. Your choices are governed by your emotions. And your emotions are guided by either a disconnected consciousness or a oneness consciousness. Your state determines your choices, your emotions, your choices, your actions, and your destiny. And this is fairly simple to understand. Most people desire to change their destiny, or they want a beautiful life, but they do nothing about it. And their journey stops with mere desiring and no action. This is an inferior pursuit. Let me narrate a humorous story I heard in my childhood. There is a lazy man who lived in a village. All he did was he engaged in daydreams about living a great life someday. One day, a neighbor gave him a pot of flour, and the lazy guy laid the pot of flour on the table that was at the foot of his bed, and he lay down to daydream. He imagined that he would make this flour into the most fragrant bread and sell it in the market at the highest price. And with the money, he would go buy a cow, sell the milk. And as the money begins to pour, he would buy more and more cows and set up a farm. The farm would give him so much that he'll be the richest fellow in the village. Seeing his wealth, the headman of the village would come begging, asking him to marry his daughter. After marrying her with great fanfare and having a child with her, one day he's taking an afternoon nap and his little son starts to cry. And he's angry with his wife because she's not silencing the boy. When she does not respond to him, he would get even angry and would kick her with his leg, like this. And lo and behold, the pot of flour would fall on the floor and it would have cracked. You're just lying down and desiring and doing nothing about it. It is an inferior pursuit, right? Some people wanting to change their destiny try to change their actions. They try to perform smart actions, loving actions. But the momentum of their old thinking makes this probably inconsistent or even impossible. This is an ordinary pursuit. That's what the largest part of the world is doing. Very few people wanting to change their destiny focus on transforming their thinking, their emotions, and from there try to change their actions. And this is a higher pursuit. However, the path laid out by Ekam includes all this, but does not stop here. To create a great destiny, we begin with awakening your consciousness to oneness. An awakened consciousness or an enlightened consciousness means a total revolution in your sense of self. When your sense of self goes from being separation driven and one that is only concerned with itself, its pleasures, its success, its ambition, and its fears and disappointment, when it moves from that place to one, the sense of self moves into a place where one is connected, that is a huge shift. That is actions that would emerge from this awakened state of oneness. Let us now look at an action, nature of action itself that emerges from an unawakened consciousness and actions that emerge from an awakened consciousness. A father and a son were very exhausted after a very long, hot day in the farmer's market. They managed to sell their produce and they're riding back home on their mule when a passerby commented how insensitive. Two adult men riding a poor animal. As soon as they listen that comment, immediately the son gets off and started walking by the side of the mule. Sometime later, the passerby commented, how come an old man has such a little affection for his son? You would expect a father would be different. And now the father got off and asked the son to ride. And sometime later, there's another comment which says how arrogant and insensitive this young man is, letting his old father walk while happily riding, the young man happily riding the mule. Hearing this, both the father and the son decide to walk alongside the animal. And that time, another comment, haha, how foolish. They have a fine mule, but both of them are not making use of it. They're riding, they're not riding on it, and they're just walking. Now, the father and the son are utterly confused. In their confusion, they try to carry the donkey over their head. The crazy donkey gives them a strong kick with its legs and runs away into the wilderness. So in this story, both the father and the son come through as fools. if you closely observe this story, it communicates one of the greatest dilemmas of human life, the dilemma of right action. What is the right action in any given situation? And this question arises in big situations and in small situations. To let go or to hold, to say yes or to say a no, to push or to release, to explain or to reinforce, to wait and pause or to do it now, to speak or to remain silent, to connect or to separate. This is the ongoing theme of conflict of an unawakened being. And for it is these actions that tip the balance of one's destiny into greatness or mediocrity. Today, let me speak of parameters that would guide you into spiritual right action. You must be wondering why we term it spiritual right action. We qualify it as spiritual right action because it is not moral right action. It is not ethical right action. Following a moral or following an ethical right action means following a code that is set for you, say by your religion or your society, without using your wisdom in the now, without using your awareness to be present in the situation now. It is like showing your left cheek to the guy who slapped on the right because some great guy said that it is what you should do. And the sad thing is you're not able to do that. You're not able to follow what is set in stone. And that further leads you to guilt. We call it spiritual right action because it is a course of action that emerges only after you have made an inner journey. It moves you beyond your inner turbulence. It moves you beyond your inner conflict. It moves you into an unperturbed state of calm, allows you to become totally, completely present to the situation. When you live in such a state, and when you allow such a state of unperturbed calm guide your actions, there is a great intelligence that flows through you. Your actions become wholesome, considerate, and inclusive. Let us look at actions that emerge from these three drivers. That is, firstly, let us look at what happens when painful and addictive emotions drive your life. The father and the son in the story are a classical example of two people who lost their intelligence as they gave into confusion, as they gave into fear of being judged. The nature of the painful emotional states of fear and anger is that it creates so much of haste within you that it robs you of your intelligence. The nature of conflicting states of sadness and lethargy is that you continually brood over the same thing again and again. And this leads you to inaction, this leads you to distraction, and you are not attentive to life. If you observed yourself, you realize that so often in your life, you are deciding whether to stay in a relationship or not, be in a job or not, while you're still in anger. You're deciding to say yes or no while you're still in sadness and loneliness. You decide upon buying or selling while you're still anxious? How can a wise action emerge from a disturbing emotional state? Your suffering state distorts your perception of reality. It obscures clear thinking. And you could live in such a state for hours, weeks, months, or even years. And you live your life as if you're dancing with steaming hot potato in hand. You keep managing by shifting it from one hand to the other until you're not able to handle it anymore. And then you let it fall or you throw it away. Spiritual right action is about slowing down. It is about taking time to slow down physically, calm down physically, cultivating a habit of stillness, meditating for a few minutes every once in a way. It is about shutting down undue haste. It is about breaking the habit of brooding. For only when you are freed of your suffering states, clear seeing becomes possible. Only if you're free of your suffering state, and insight into the current life challenges becomes possible. Now let us look at the second driver. What happens when comparison drives your life? The one whom you compare with becomes your rival, even if it was your partner or a brother. When actions arise from a state of comparison, your rival is the one driving your life. He or she is deciding the direction, and you're just trying to be ahead of them in that same direction. In an awakened state, you either spontaneously perform spiritual right actions or you reflect and perform right actions. For in an awakened state, you will take into consideration your own well-being as well as the well-being of the other. You do not sacrifice yourself or your well-being, nor do you ignore the other's well-being. In situations where you may not be able to help the other, you may have to protect the interest of the other. You choose to perform actions that would cause the least damage to the other. The third principle, spiritual right action is not an ideal-driven action. Like going back to the story of the father and the son and the donkey. What is the ideal that drove them? The father and the son, they suffered a total failure of intelligence because they were driven by the ideal of wanting to please everyone. Being driven by an ideal takes you away from being present to what the situation needs. Please understand, an ideal-driven action is predetermined, it is mechanical. Your generous or humble responses are more habitual responses. At that point, what happens is following the ideal becomes more important than caring for yourself or caring for the people in front of you. No matter how good or how noble your ideal may be, when your actions are driven by an obsession to fulfill it, please know it is no intelligence. When you become obsessed about fulfilling that ideal, you become insensitive, you become heartless. Spiritual right action is only possible when you are completely present to actuality, totally, completely present to the moment. and therefore care to make a difference because you're present. Let me share with you a story from the life of Confucius, a great Chinese philosopher, a royal advisor. Confucius system, or the Confucian system of governance, is based clearly on clearly well-defined laws, ethics, and principles. What is the language you must use while communicating with your parent, friend, and teacher? Everything is defined because he believed that there would be great order, virtue, and righteousness then. Everybody in the society knew what actions would be rewarded, what actions would be punished for. And they also knew what kind of punishment also would be set. So in the kingdom, the horse was stolen, and it was reported. And an inquiry was sent forth to find the thief. And the punishment was imprisonment for a few number of years. And they were looking for the thief, and a reward prize was announced for the person who would help them discover the thief. A young man walked up into the court and said he knows the thief. While Confucius asked him, "How did you know?" The son replied that he's his father. Confucius said, "Put the father behind the bars." But even before he completed the sentence, he asked a few questions to the boy. He asked, "Why did your father steal your neighbor's horse?" And the boy said, "My father stole because my family was starving. I was starving, my mother was starving, and we had no food to eat. In order to feed us, he stole the horse." And immediately Confucius ordered the boy to be present and the father to be released. Why do you think Confucius did that? The boy was obsessed with the idea of being an honest person. This is our interpretation. We don't know if it was historically so. What the son did was a morally a right action. It is ethically a right action. But what we are speaking of is spiritual right action. For this boy, honesty had become an ideal. And that ideal became more important than connection. That ideal of honesty had become his identity. And probably Confucius felt it was more dangerous to have a heartless person in the society, and threw the boy in the prison and got the father out. What can truly impact the world are only actions born of connection and oneness. To be sensitive to others' state of being. And you can act from such a sensitive state of being only when you're free of the force of the three drivers I mentioned. Then you move into a state of consciousness where you feel the other. You move to a state of consciousness where you go beyond the limited sense of self, where you feel happiness of the other and respond, or you feel the unhappiness of the other and respond. In the space of connection and oneness alone, spiritual right action could emerge. And such an action brings about happiness and well-being to you and to everyone else who's a part of your life. Let me lead you into a meditation now. This meditation is a profound spiritual process to access the power of the universal intelligence, the intelligence that is present in every bit of this universe. The universal intelligence will flow as immense clarity, strength, creativity, and support you to engage in spiritual right action in any aspect of your life. When grace combines with spiritual right action, then you would see an unexpected momentum to move forward in life. So if you're ready, please close your eyes. Be seated in a comfortable position with your spine erect. Inhale and exhale, slow and deep. Take conscious breaths with total awareness of the entire movement of breath. Now bring a specific life circumstance in front of your eyes, closed eyes. A specific life circumstance which you feel needs the support of the universal intelligence. A life circumstance where you have exhausted all your resources in terms of your mental abilities to arrive at a solution. Now simply say within yourself, I let go of my desperation, of my limited self, and I allow the universal intelligence to take over my problem. Feel it, mean it, say it very clearly within yourself that you let go of your desperation arising from the limited self. And you leave it to the divine or the universal intelligence to solve your problem. Gently move your attention to your heart region. Let your awareness of the universal intelligence unfold in any way that is natural to you. You may feel the presence of the universal intelligence as a great power, great peace, or great love. You may have a mystical vision of a form that is very close to your heart, or you may experience a vast, formless presence. Allow the experience to unfold in your heart space and immerse in that experience of the divine or the universal intelligence. From this experience of the divine, speak as if you're speaking with a being. You may ask the intelligence, the divine, to open you to inspiration and intuition to solve the challenge ahead. Or you may ask the divine to fulfill your heartfelt intention. Speak from your heart. Speak as if you're speaking with somebody who's very close to you, in whom you trust. See your intention manifesting. See yourself living it and enjoying it. Also feel the joy of experiencing the reality. Experience the joy and fulfillment in your heart and allow your heart to move into a space of gratitude to the universal intelligence or the divine for making your intention a reality. You've opened yourself to a massive field of benevolence and power now. May you be blessed. May your loved ones be blessed. May the world around you be blessed. Take a deep breath. Inhale deeply. Exhale slowly. Slowly open your eyes. So beautiful to be with you, all of you today, and it is so wonderful to lead you into a meditation. Think about what your right action should be or would be in the circumstances or the challenges that is throwing up in your life. Are you acting from a space of comparison? Are you acting from sadness, loneliness, hurt, disappointment? Are you acting from suffering states? Or are you acting from a place of obsessing over an ideal to be right, an ideal to be good, to be seen as good? What is it that is driving you? Or are you responding to your life from a place of deep calm, a space of unperturbed calm? It is only when you are in that space of inner stillness and inner quiet, you would actually be able to have the entire sense of the reality that is in front of you. And only then you'll be able to respond rightly to that situation. So spiritual right action is where you have dissolved your inner stressful states, where you dissolved your suffering, experience a quiet, and in a quiet, a calm, and then being totally present to the situation, to the moment, and then responding from that state of connection. Your actions would determine your destiny. And if it is action performed after dissolving your suffering states, that means you would create an extraordinary destiny for yourself and the world. It has been lovely being with all of you again today. And thank you, Teresa. You've always been very special.
Thank you so much for that beautiful transmission. It really nourished my heart in such a deep way, and I could feel it in the field. And I look forward to seeing you on June 10th in LA. I'm going to be
Yes.
there. Yes. And we're going to invite everyone here to join us.
Experience Enlightenment on the 10th of June. It's going to be very special. Shri Krishnaji and I will be present. And as the name suggests, it would be an experience of enlightenment, an enlightened state of peace and oneness. So would be wonderful if you can all join together.
Yes. I'll put a link in the chat to register for this beautiful and powerful event in LA. And Ekam has offered to provide us some of the early bird discount amounts so that can make it available for everyone. And there's also been a special offering from Radhaji to do sessions with anyone who will be attending the LA event. And I'll also put those links in the chat for everyone. I think she was here, and I don't know if she's stayed with us.
She must have been here. Yeah, I don't see her, but yes.
Yes, she was here, yes. Do you want to say anything else about the LA event before we go?
It would be an event filled with wisdom, deep mystic process, and a powerful diksha for oneness. It would lead you to an experience of enlightenment. You probably would experience a profound inner quiet or a peace, an unperturbed state of peace and calm, or you probably would experience bliss. It is an event for you to experience enlightenment.
Yes. I looked at the stadium that it's going to be in, and it just reminded me of like a small Ekam, where when we're together in a field like that, how potent and powerful it can be. So very much looking forward to it. I will send emails out to everyone with the offerings and the invitation to come. And I want to also just apologize. We didn't have translation. We had so many people needing it today. And so I promise you that we'll do that the next time.
So wonderful seeing you all, and thank you, Teresa.
Thank you. Shri Preethaji, have a beautiful evening. Thank you for being with
Have
us.
a wonderful day. Namaste.
Namaste. And blessings to everyone who joined us today. May this love that you're feeling pour onto the planet and bless everyone in your life. Namaste.
Namaste and hello to everyone.
Oh, there you are. Let's find you to highlight you. Yes.
At the end of Shri Preethaji's talk, I was actually trying to thank Shri Preethaji, and when all of you wanted to know what is experience enlightenment, I tried to come in, but now thank you for unmuting.
Great.
So, thank you, Teresa, for organizing such a beautiful time with Shri Preethaji. If not for your, facilitating this, it's a huge opportunity for everyone to learn about right action. To give you a small brief of what is the experience that you will have, when you are with Shri Preethaji and her husband Shri Krishnaji on the June 10th. What they're talking about is enlightened living. That is, imagine the state of consciousness as experienced by the Buddha. And the Buddha is not in a hermitage. Buddha has not left the world, has not renounced his throne. He's not attached to this throne, or he is neither, averse to it. But that kind of a consciousness which has discovered, which has awakened to compassion, to love, to a great state of freedom. And from that compassion and love, to actually live in the world, relate, connect, Preethaji and Krishnaji on that day is going to give you a taste of that kind of love, of that great peace, which does not divide, which does not differentiate. In that state, there is no conflict whatsoever. So the thing is, many of us assume that these are very high spiritual states of consciousness and that we will be experiencing it, let's say, even every day if possible, only during our meditations or only during our times in solitude. Shri Preethaji and Shri Krishnaji do not agree to that. What they're saying is, when you, first of all, is it possible for every one of us to become completely enlightened just like the Buddha? They're saying 100% yes. Second one is, you will continue to impact the world by being the person who you are in the external world, by profession, by what you are to your family, to your friends. None of those things are going to completely change in the sense, now you are just sitting under a tree doing nothing, or there's a halo around your head and then you're speaking, very weird. None of those things. An enlightened being, because all the drama around what we assume to be love, what we assume to be passion at work, what we assume to be creativity and productivity, all of that, and they all have receded. And then you've returned back to what we call as a state of Ekam. Ekam means oneness. In that state, you cannot imagine the quality of affection, love, peace, in the absence of self, which contaminates all of this. The love that you would experience for a family member, for a friend, even for a stranger, there will be that oneness in it. So on that day, make it. Come to LA. If you're someone living there, then you're truly blessed. In case you're living a little far, it's not that you're less blessed. Prioritize coming. It is not going to be any different from, in those ancient times when the world did have a few totally enlightened spiritual masters stay, teach, and not only teach. When they were able to create a field around them, like Raman Maharshi in India was one such sage. He spoke very little. But most people would move into a silence in themselves which they had never ever seen, known, or experienced. And that silence lasted. It lasted for months, it lasted for years. That is the power of an enlightened consciousness, that they can create a field. And when that field touches you, all your unanswered questions, conflicts, something that we've, let's say, struggled for several lifetimes, trying to decipher them, you will see that all of them will just give way. And the one thing that you truly wanted to experience, it's there, whether it is oneness or pure love or a state where you and God or you and the divine have become, whatever it is, you will just effortlessly move into that. And that particular state gets more and more stabilized in you. I've seen it happen in my life. I still continue to have those very powerful, very special hours, many times in the day. Said, anyone who wants to know more about experience enlightenment, what is going to happen that day? I've left the link. It is calendly.com, so where you can choose your convenient time to connect and we will talk. Thank you so much.
Your heart is so beautiful, my friend. I always love seeing you and feeling your energy, and such a powerful teacher and transmitter of this great heart love of the oneness field. Do you want to say a little bit more? This is this special offering that you have, that you put your Calendly link there, is for those people that want to attend LA and want to prepare themselves to really open to the energy. So do you want to say a little bit about, I mean, this is such a special gift. I'm kind of in awe that you're offering it. And I feel just the generosity of your heart that's being offered here to our community and this community of coherence practice. So one, I want to say thank you. And I want to really honor this gift and where it's coming from. And you can say a little bit more about it for those that would want to connect with you and really open and prepare for this powerful
Yes.
event.
Yes. So I've seen it many, many times that when it is time, liberation is approaching you. By liberation, what I mean is the total freedom in the mind, in your consciousness. You need to have a huge amount of good karma supporting you. You will need to have a lot of blessings and grace supporting you. This happens in every enlightened being. So on June 10th, when you're having that great opportunity to be in with Sri Preethaji and Sri Krishnaji for those many hours, and they're going to give you that pristine wisdom and the transmission of that state. Several people who come there, they have already been in touch with Ekam. They've gone through wonderful preparation to come. To the community of Global Coherence Pulse, we know that all of you are very, very sincere seekers, and the vision with which every pulse is operating is also that the heart's resonance and the earth's resonance, when they're in sync, we are the children of Mother Earth. We are the children of this universe. So when we have that blessing from the planet, from our source, the only thing that can be an obstacle is your worries. The universal energies are going to be on your side. They will favor you. Probably your ancestors and everyone also would wish, yes, my child, let my child ultimately attain the greatest of freedom, which is enlightenment. But the only thing, that keeps you waiting or a bit preoccupied is your current life challenges, whether it is issues with health or relationships or financial situations, anything and everything about which you worry. That worry takes away the preciousness of this moment. So when I offered that me, and if possible, even Kumarji, that we would be happy to meet you one-on-one. We usually don't do this because we're very busy, and especially with the event coming. And usually our Q&As and everything happens for a group of people, and the group is minimum, 200, grows from there. So Teresa was asking me a few times, are you sure you want to do this? And I said, yes. In the whole year, this is the only time, where in Ekam, because the climate is too hot, too warm, we don't have in-house programs happening. So this is the only month where we have the time like that to do a one-on-one. And I wanted to give that to your community. So when you come, yes, you have the opportunity to share very briefly if there is something that is worrying you, anything that is worldly, for which I will share with you an insight that Sri Preethaji and Sri Krishnaji would want you to understand. with which your worry actually leaves. And then we will collectively pray. You and I will pray for one heartfelt desire of yours to manifest in life. And at the end of it, yes, you take an intention to come. This is something that I'm offering. We are offering at Ekam for all those who want to attend the June 10th. If you're unable to, because that's not going to be live streamed, it's not, it is a real event. So if you're not able to make it, probably on another occasion, we'll do something with you so that we can collectively learn together. This would be a gift for anyone and everyone who chooses to come for the June 10th. Is this clear enough, Teresa?
Yes, beautiful. Thank you so much. And what a beautiful gift. And I'll make a date with you so that I'm ready and prepared to come. I'm so looking forward to being with you in LA. And
You're
thank
a guest, most welcome. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Very
And
happy.
Ekam will be joining also the connection field as that comes up, the Islands of Coherence Network, so that their offerings will be there and ways for us to connect more deeply in with the work of Ekam and Sri Preethaji and Sri Krishnaji and yourself. Yeah, such a beautiful teacher. Yeah.
Honor to have this space.
Yeah. Would you like to close us out with a little blessing? Anything you would like.
Yes. Let us close our eyes. Bring your awareness to the empty space in front of your closed eyes. As you breathe in and breathe out slowly, visualize our planet Earth in front of your closed eyes. She is our mother. Connect to Mother Earth in that one loving way that resonates with your heart. As you breathe in and breathe out, feel the earth breathe in and breathe out. Feel as if you are embracing Mother Earth with your arms, with your heart, with your loving eyes. And in turn, feel Mother Earth also. Fill your heart. Fill your heart with her affection, nurture, a sense of eternal belongingness. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. May all sentient beings be peaceful. May all living beings be in harmony. May everyone and everything feel loved, protected. May all auspiciousness flow through all of us into the earth and into the universe and all life forms supported by this universe. Let there be peace in you. Let there be peace in all of us. Let there be peace across life. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You may gently open.
Thank you. May we really take this nourishment in today and really feed our hearts and souls and share it out in the world with everyone that you touch. Let's let no molecule be left untouched by this love we generated today. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming today. And I hope to hug some of you in LA. Blessings. Thank you. Namaste, everyone. Namaste.